let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Good evening, good afternoon, good dawn, good morning, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to another episode of IoT Tuesday, your one and only IoT show on the continent. I am yours truly, Samuel Adranye, bring you goodness of IoT in today's episode. In today's episode, we'll be talking about how to persist your sensor and your device data in the cloud. Here, we're being specific on the Azure cloud. When we come back, I'm going to show you how to do that. Stay and stay. Awesome, we are back. So, if you're joining us, this is IoT Tuesday, your only show on the continent that demystifies everything about IoT and the Azure IoT offerings. So, in today's episode, if you have been following us in the previous series, if you've not, check my YouTube channel. All the previous episodes are there. Well, if you've been following us, we have been building up on our home environmental monitoring system. We started along by connecting the various sensors, gas sensors, temperature, humidity, all the other sensors. We connected it to the system. We learned how to, set up these sensors. We've learned how to communicate with the cloud. We've learned how to send commands from the cloud to the device. So today, as you realize, all the sensor information that we're passing has not been persisted. It's just keep going to the hub and we do nothing about it. So in today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to persist the data. The couple of ways that are out there that you can use. You can either you use logic, sorry, you can either use functions to listen to events that happen in the how do you call it, that happen in the IoT hub, and then use that data to do something. Or you can use some routing. So today I'm going to take you on the journey where we're going to explore all those options. Um, Before I go, yes, today is a special day for me because it is the birthday of my wife and my daughter. Yes, they both have the same birthday. It's also the birthday of my late sister. So if you are alive, this would have been like a triple banger. So happy birthday to you, to my baby girl, to my princess, to my queen. Happy birthday to awesome moment in my life. So let's get started. And don't forget that if you have any questions, you can always reach me on any of my social media handles, or you can just put a message in the chat, and then I will try to multitask and then answer them. Hey, so today, we'll try as much as possible to keep it very brief and quick so I can go and spend some time with them because we are yet to cut the birthday cake and I don't want to miss it. So we're going to make this very snappy. All right, so if you've been following us, we've been building upon our home monitoring system. We've done a couple of things already. So let me bring in here a couple of options that we have. Right? So what I'm going to do here is I think I want to I want to bring something here. I want to highlight something for us to take a look at. So let's go here. So this is under Azure architecture, and then there's an IoT reference architecture here. All right, that shows a couple of things. We are gradually doing a few of it. We're actually doing a few of these. Let me zoom in so you can probably get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. So currently, what's happening is that we're using Raspberry Pi, which is running Python and reading from a temperature humidity sensor. Well, for the sakes of those that have not, let's go to the bench. Yep. So as you can see from here, we have our relay, which is controlling this fan. There's a temperature humidity sensor, and the last time I bent it, I don't know if you can see this, but let's see. Let's see if I can pick this, guys. I bent it the other time. I was doing a demo for some people, and I took the heat gun to burnt it, but it's still working anyway. We're going to stick to that. So this is reading the temperature and humidity sensor, and then it's pushing all these things into our IoT hub. So that is where we are as of today. Now, to show you this, let's go and open. Let's open Node app. Hopefully our connection to the Raspberry Pi hasn't been changed. If it's changed, we're just going to go there, look at it and check the IP and create a new configuration file. But whilst that's happening, I just wanted to draw attention to this. So currently, you can see the three segmentations of how you do the IoT stuff. Currently, you have the things, which is our Raspberry Pi. Then you have the insight. So under insight, you can do data transformation. Okay, it looks like our IP has changed. We'll fix that pretty soon. So what's happening is that in the insight section here, all right, zoom there. I don't know why, but I don't. That's the thing. I don't want this side. Okay, cool. I think this is fine. So in this section, okay, in the inside section, you can do data transformation with functions app, which means you can, if it's Python, if it's Node, if it's C Sharp, anything, you can even containerize any language and run it as a function right now. Lately in Azure Functions, one of the useful things. I think I'll talk about it on the Friday show because that's more general. Now, or you can pass it into, send it to Cosmos DB as a code storage, as a code path. So let me explain how sometimes these IoT devices work. We have the hot part. Okay, so the hot part. Let me talk about this briefly and then come back. So the hot part is the real-time processing. So let's say you are receiving telemetry from a car, like the mileage, the fuel, and all that, and you want to do something in real time. All right, that is the hot part because the data is coming in and you're acting upon data almost like immediately. That would be called the hot part, right? And for that, you can use services like Stream Analytics, but through the IoT Hub, because the IoT Hub serves like a gateway from your devices to the cloud. And once that gets there, you can push it to the Stream Analytics, okay, to do real time stream changes, to do analytics in real time, kind of like whether you're using Apache like Kafka. You can use that also in Stream Analytics. You can use Apache Kafka if you want to. Hey, look at who decided to join us. A ghost from Gabon. Daisy, what's up? Welcome to the show. Hopefully, this makes a lot of sense or makes meaning for you. Welcome. Thanks you for joining us. So, like I was mentioning, so the hot part, you can do like real time processing. That's fine. And then from the hot part for the processing, you can push it to Power BI or you can decide to do any crazy thing you want to. So that's what you're seeing here. That's what you're seeing in this diagram. So this is the hot part. So from the gateway IoT hub to the stream analytics here, and then they are showing this real time on Power BI. This will be the hot part. All right. And then you can do some business integration with logic apps. That's fine. No one cares about that. Now, then the second part is the code part. Now, you want to store that data. All right. In most cases, ideally, once the data comes through it and it goes through the hot part, if you don't store it, you lose that data. All right, because that data goes, like it's gone. It processes and then it's gone. So to do that, you decide to store it in the code path. All right. So if you look on this diagram, they're saying for here, even though it goes through the stream analytics or processing, they are using Cosmos DB for the warm path or the hot path, and then they are storing it in a storage blob as the cold path, so that they still have it. And if you look at this architecture, they're trying to do some machine learning with the data that keeps coming from your device. So this is one very common reference architecture. Okay, so now let's look at Now let's say IoT. Well, let's look at this vehicle, another architecture for using the vehicle processing. So take a look at this as well. In this scenario, your IoT edge or device, in our case, is our Raspberry Pi. We know how to connect it to IoT Hub. That's good. Now, this is going into Azure Databricks. All right. So Databricks is, we'll say, synonymous to stream analytics, but this is like performing some kind of work or processing on the data coming in, and then it's storing it, whether it is Cosmos DB, Azure, SQL BI, storing it here, and then using a dashboard for the insight. And after this, you can pipe it to web application or mobile. All right, this is real time. Then, in this case, today, let's take a look at how we can, connect this using Cosmos DB. So if you don't know what Cosmos DB is, Cosmos DB is Microsoft at at scale uh, non-relational or document database that allows you to store your data. It has APIs for like Mongo, Gremlin, and some other common NoSQL or non-relational data structures. All right, so something cool. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at it. This is almost similar like the one we saw before. The edge or the device in our case, which is Raspberry Pi, the gateway, which is the IoT hub, bringing the data in, and then here they are still using the Databricks, right? So Databricks for the structured streaming or performing real-time analytics on it. In our case, we're going to do something a little different. Now, I mentioned a couple of ways to go about it, okay? One would be get the data, run it through IoT Hub, and then use Azure Functions, okay? Use Azure Functions to trigger if something happens. Let me show you this. Let's go to our portal. Let's go to portal.azure.com. I think we're going to use the Outlook account so we can get access to, yep, Outlook, so we can get access to our Azure subscription. This, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. I will try as much as possible to answer that question for you. Make it simple for you. Let's see. Awesome. Yep. So here we have, let's go here a bit. Yep. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yeah, I think this is big enough. I think this is big enough. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I am trying. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. All right. So here we are in our Azure subscription or Azure, whichever it is, whichever dialect or accent you're using, that's fine. Once we're talking about the common thing, there's no problem with that. Okay, so I'm going to go to my IoT Tuesday resource group, and in here, you realize that as part of the resource, where is that? Yeah, as part of the resource, look closely. We have an IoT hub, we have a device provisioning service, we have a couple of connectors, Twilio, Twitter, all under that, that service. Now, it's functions that I want us to pay particular attention to. So let me go back to home and let's add this. And we can actually also do this from Visual Studio Code. Don't forget that, okay? In fact, why don't we just go ahead and fix um is extension is recommended. Yeah, I already have it, but anyway, no problem. Let's install that. Okay, so open the let's fix this. And we both know how to fix this, right? So we go to our Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi. Okay, let's try this again. It seems our Raspberry Pi is offline. Hold on, just a sec. Let's if we can get this rolling. Let's see if we can get this rolling. Let's put this back. So all I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get our Raspberry Pi back online. Let's see this. Okay, so let me do this. Let me go ahead and let me reset this. Right. Let's reset this up. Out of the way. Okay, connected back. Let's see if it's going to actually even send any. Oh, assistant. Seems you're not getting a feed from our Raspberry Pi. Let's do this again. Okay, let me remove this. Back. Let's see what happened. Wait. Okay, so it looks like we still don't have access to that. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to try to set up a configuration again for our Raspberry Pi. Because I want to show you the code base. So connect to a host. Yeah, let's use 3. And let's see. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we're trying to pull out our code that's sending data into the Azure cloud for us. All right. So whilst that's going on, let's go back. Oop. Okay. All right. So it looks like our IP has changed. So Nope. Let's go here. So I'm going to show you. I mentioned that the first part would be to create a functions application that listens to an IoT Hub event, so that when the event hits the function, we can take that and connect it and send the data to, let's say, a Cosmos DB. All right. So first off, I think I have a Cosmos DB in here. Let's go to the resource and check the IoT Tuesday resource group. Resource group, if you're not familiar with Azure, resource group is just like a logical folder that stores all your services or resources that are related to a particular deployment in Azure. All right. I don't think, yeah, we don't have. Okay, so we're going to add two things. We're going to add a Cosmos DB, and then we're going to add a functions application to it. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So let's go to create resource, and it's going to be in, where is that? Where is that? Compute. And there you go. Function app. Right. So functions app or Azure Functions is part of the compute offering. So don't forget that. So functions app. So that's one way. Like I mentioned. So the path is Raspberry Pi, IoT Hub, right? Azure function listening to IoT Hub event. When the event happens, gets the data, and then uses the Cosmos DB connector or binding, output binding, and puts the data in there. That's what we're going to do. Right? That's one. Or you can do custom routing within the IoT Hub, which I find to be the most easiest one. So you can create an endpoint to say that anytime, okay, anytime that there's a message that comes in with a particular property, you want this message to be routed to this endpoint. And now, when you use that endpoint, you can now use things like Power Automate, or in this case, Logic App, to listen to anything coming on that endpoint. And then you can extract the data from that endpoint and put it into your it could be Cosmos, MySQL, Oracle, wherever you want to store it, you can do that. But we are taking the functions approach, all right? Because that exposes that to other Azure services that we can use. Yep, I'm using the my Visual Studio subscription. Let me zoom this in so you can see what I'm doing. Resource group, I'm going to put this in the IoT Tuesday resource group. So like I said, a resource group is just a logical folder that puts together related services in the deployment or in, let's say, in a project. So in this case, IoT Tuesday, anything I create that is related to the IoT Tuesday show, I want to put it in the IoT resource group. So that tomorrow, if I just want to nuke everything, I just nuke the resource group and every resource or service is taken care of. All right. If there's any question at this point, you can ask me and I will be glad to answer. So what's the name of this thing? We'll call this function um, IoT Tuesday tune, not Azure website because it's like a web application, but we're not going to use that. So let's give it a name, and you guys can help me with a name for this. Let's see, what would it be? First person to suggest the name, I am picking it. I'm using that name. First person to suggest the name, I'm using that name. Let's see who's gonna be that first person. Okay, let's see. What name should we use? Trying to find something, very simple, straightforward, something that, yeah. What do you guys think? Anything? The couple of you on the stream, just give me any name at all we can use. All right. Okay. Well, let's just call it Pi Pro Team. Workplace team. Okay. So I could use team. Thanks for that. But I could use team, but it has to be something that you know that you can when you come back you can easily that okay this this is a meaningful one. Okay, well let's just call it um pi pi I just call it I'll just call it uh IoT Tuesday data. Yeah, let's just call it IoT Tuesday data so it's going to be Azure website dot net. Now if you are not familiar with Azure functions, you see that there's something here called Docker container. Now if you use code, it means that you're either going to use the built-in editor or you're going to use Visual Studio Code to write your code for the definition of this function, whether you're doing it in Python, C Sharp, Node, Go, I think PowerShell and some other experimental languages. You're going to use code. However, if the language you're going to write it in is not supported immediately by Microsoft or by functions, you can use a Docker container. So, I mean, with Docker, it's endless. You can Dockerize whatever application it is that you want to run anytime it's called. Dockerize it, and then you can come and use that in here. So, since we are using the code, I just go with the code, the stack. So as you can see, this is the core languages, which is generally available right now for the version of functions you're using. .NET Core, Node.js, Python, Java, PowerScript, PowerShell Core. All right. So you can write code for these. As outside of this, you can Dockerize your application and then select the Docker container, and then you're good to go. But for code, I think I like the Node version, so we can write Node. And I always like to choose a minimum entry bar so that anybody at all can get into this. Yeah, let's keep to the version. And then Central US. No, French Central is closest to me because I have a way of determining. If you go to, I think Azure, we do the Azure speed test. If you look for a site called the Azure speed test, so it's azurespeed.com. All right. So let me actually copy this and put it here. So for those of you who want it, can check it out. So what this does is it allows you to check the latency between the various Azure regions and your current location. All right. And I have found out that front central gives me the least, the shortest latency. So I would go for that. I'll go for that instead. Right. So yeah, cool. So that's just something for you to note, so you can save it and go check it out. And that's it. So let's go to next hosting. Is this going to be, let's say, is this going to be stored in just any generic thing? No, but in this case, I'll create a new storage account. All right. And let's create a new storage account and I'll call it IoT Tuesday storage account. And it is going to be within the storage account that will be storing all the data that's coming. So I'm using two bits. I'm using one stone to kill two bits. Yeah, I almost messed that up. Okay, operating system. Because functions, you can decide to go with a Windows host or a Linux host, right? Nothing really crazy about it. Obviously, some people with a Linux affiliation can go there, but also there's a slight change. Um, we've noticed that there's some performance with Linux and also allows you to do, much a crazy OS level stuff as compared to Windows. But I'll leave all this thing to the default. And then in terms of the plan type, you have, as you can see, premium and application. Sorry, we have premium, app service, and consumption type plans. Now, if you use premium, it means that there's always going to be like a couple of instances warmed up to run your code for you, right? If you use app service plan, app service plan means that you already have an Azure app service. You have an environment for an app service, and you want your function to run within that service. All right, that's fine. That. That is if you already have like investment or system set up in an app service, you can use this. Or you can go with the default, which is a consumption plan. Now, the consumption plan ensures that you only build for what you're using. So if your function doesn't run, you know, we build. That's what the consumption plan does. I think let's keep it consumption plans for now. And then we can do next monitoring. Yeah, by default, let's leave it. And this is going to store it. It's going to create a new application inside. No, for the sakes of this demo, I'll take this off. We'll go to tags. Now, tags are a way for you to kind of like add metadata to the, the Azure resources or objects or services you create so that you can actually do like you can if you're doing a search by tag, you can know that okay, these are all things related to this specific tag. All right, we're going to leave this blank, review and create, and this solves that problem. Well, while this is building, let's go back here and test if I hope that this electricity issue hasn't messed up with um oh, something happened. Oh, the resource priority choose already as the location east US in resource group priority. A resource with the same name cannot be created in the location. So what does it want me to do? Hmm. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's see what I did wrong. Storage account. Wait, so it means that there's actually a storage account. Okay, consumption plan. This looks fine. Oh, resource group. This is not a new resource group. It's an old resource group. Functioning app is fine. Hosting seems fine. Monitoring, we're not using any app inside. Tags, tags, we are not using any. So let's review and create. There's something there's something wrong somewhere with this. Okay, so please select a new resource name. Ah, IoT Tuesday already exists. Let's go to our home. Let's check. It's saying that it already exists. So we have a resource group called IoT Tuesday. That's true. We don't have any. Thing is, we don't have any storage accounts that's called IoT Tuesday. I will. Okay, hold on. Let's go into the IoT Tuesday folder. Okay, we do. We do. Yeah, so we do have a storage called the IoT Tuesday already here. As you can see, IoT Tuesday storage is here. So we don't need to recreate it. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and add. Let's go to our compute. We're going to do this again, unfortunately. Let's add our function app. So this time we won't recreate the storage account. We'll point to the storage account that has been created. All right. That's my bad. Give me. The resource group has been picked. Function name, let's call it IoT. The demo. Cool. So the stack, we're running Node. Yeah, let's put it still in our France. Let's see, where is that? Yep, France Central. And next, no, we're not using. So here, this is where I'm confused because I have that. Uh, okay, storage account IoT. Okay, I'm just going to do this. IoT, IoT Tuesday, IoT Tuesday, storage. All right, let's do IoT Tuesday storage. Let's see if this works. Consumption plan is a default. Let's go to monitoring. We don't want any monitoring. Go to, we don't have any tags. Let's try this again. Right. In the meantime, I need to be able, okay, so it looks like, yeah, we're good to go. Validation is done. Okay, so whilst the logic app, sorry, the function, why am I saying logic app? It's because I did a logic app session earlier before the show, so it's still running in my head. Okay, so while the function is being prepared, all right, I still want us to be able to resolve the issue with a Raspberry Pi, because if the Raspberry Pi, which has our data, is not running, then the purpose of this show, today's episode, wouldn't make sense. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we miss here. Okay, okay, this is strange. Put the keyboard. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see. I think I have an idea of what's actually going on. I could be right. Could be. Let's check. So my theory is that, so it seems for some reason, yeah, it seems for some reason, some very funny or apparent reason, we are losing the feed of the Raspberry Pi. Let's see how this works. So actually, if you can hear me, I've actually um tried to remove and reconnect it. Let's see. Okay. All right, our resource is done. Let's go to the resource, but we still need a Raspberry Pi. I need the Raspberry Pi. All right, cool. So the function has been created. All right, so and we can look at the code and see this very simple. We can go ahead and add. We can now the functions. The project is created. We can now add a function that takes the input from, let's say, um, IoT Hub, and then an output also of what, a Cosmos DB. Now, because we don't have Cosmos DB, let's quickly go ahead, okay, and create a Cosmos DB. But before then, let me go to the IoT Hub, sorry, the Azure Tuesday, and see if we have any Cosmos DB for it. We don't. We don't have that. Oh, IoT the storage is ransom. So we have two storage, no problem. So let's go ahead and now the database, right? So we go to database, and there you go, Azure Cosmos DB, right? So I'll click here. I'm going to create a Cosmos DB instance within our IoT Tuesday. For limited time, create a new Azure Cosmos DB account with multi-region, save up to, well, yeah, obvious marketing. So we're using my Visual Studio subscription, we're using the IoT Tuesday resource group, and here I'll just call it IoT. Now, So the API. So this is why I was telling you that Cosmos DB is, a global scale. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, boss. Thank you, boss. Welcome for joining, Moro. Welcome. So the Cosmos DB is a non-relational database, global scale non-relational database service. It has APIs like Core SQL, as you can see from here, Azure Table, Cassandra, MongoDB, Gremlin. So if you are used to MongoDB, you can use the MongoDB style of querying stuff, querying data, communicate with Azure Cosmos DB. If you are used to SQL, regular SQL, you can use that API. If you are used to Azure Tables, if you're used to Gremlin Graph, you can use that. All right. We'll just stick to Mongo, right? Just like the very basic. I mean, but hey, you can use Core SQL. Not a big deal. All right. You can use Core SQL, not a big deal at all. So let's just go ahead. I'll go ahead and use just Go. Very simple. I'm not doing any notebook preview. I'm not doing notebooks there. Apply free tier. Yes, I'm applying the free tier location as usual. Let's see if I have. Well, I don't, so I'm just going to go with the US. This is a non-production. The version 3.6 is fine. Multi-region, right? Well. Yeah, let's just disable all that. We're fine with this. We're just doing very basic stuff. So you can connect to your Cosmos DB account either probably via yeah. So yes, yeah, let's allow all networks for now. I can change this once that's done. Again, no tags review. It's gonna validate and make sure that it's fine. Um, yep. So let's go ahead and create it. So whilst this is creating, whilst our Cosmos DB is creating, let me go back here and let's check what's up with our Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi still won't show. How about, okay, let's see. Let me grab a second monitor. Then we can use that to check if everything is okay. So let me show you what I'm about to do. So I have this 7-inch LCD display, right here. And since the Raspberry Pi, this Pi for some reason is not sending signal to OBS for me to show you. So I just want to be sure the Pi is fine and that is it's just a problem with this my OBS Elgato stream. So I'm going to connect this LED to it and then test to make sure it's coming. If it's coming, I'll just readjust it. We need to do this because without the sensor data we're already getting from the Raspberry Pi, it would be pointless to continue with this unless you use like simulated stuff, which I don't want to. I want us to see the real thing. So let me get this here and then yeah, so you're gonna watch me. That's fine. Let me here. So this is like the keyboard mouse to it. So all I'm going to do now is this this HDMI. Um that so this is how it looks like. This is how it's a 7-inch touch LCD display. So let me go ahead and connect it. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to my Raspberry Pi, and it needs to be powered. So I have this power bank here that I'll connect to just so we are sure that getting uh I just want to be sure there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, working. You can see this. So you can see that the Raspberry Pi is fine. It's sending, it's like it's fine. It's just I'm sure. So it's just my capture card that is messing up. Okay, I'm just gonna try to do this real quick, or I don't need it to. So this is what 7, right? 7. Yeah, that's all I needed. So hey, thank you for your service. So I'm gonna get rid of this now. So all I needed was I just needed the IP address for the Raspberry Pi because I wanted to create a connection for it, so we can see the data that is sending, right? So it's 7. So now let's go ahead. Let's go to let's go here and create a new connection. So I'm going to go here and open the configuration file 7. So you can actually see. So it's 7, 7. Let's create this, and I'm going to try to connect to the host again. 7. Going to ask me what Linux, and yes, on to continue. Enter the secret password for this, and yep, we're in there. So now I'm going to open I'm going to open the folder we've been working in. So open, it is dev, and it's a node app. Yep, what we're working in. So now this is the code that is running on the Raspberry Pi. And thanks to Visual Studio Code, I didn't have to directly do this on the Raspberry Pi. I'm using a remote, SSH into the Raspberry Pi to get this out there. So this is the code, quite very simple, right? We open device, and if you want to understand this code, it's on my GitHub repo, so you can go check it out. It's all there. Um, I did, I explained this code in the last episode. So if you don't, if you didn't watch last episode, please go check this out. So I'm going to run it right now on the device on a Raspberry Pi, and you're going to see the data that is being sent. And this data is just passing. It's just going to the hub, and nothing is being done to it. We're losing it, so we want to persist it. Oh, and it looks like we're almost out of time, but no problem. I'll just show this, and then we'll go back to it. And then if this doesn't, if you're not able to finish in time, I will come back next episode, and then we'll connect it. But right now, we have our hub, we have our device, we have the sensor sending the data. We've created our Cosmos key. We've created our functions, Azure functions app that is going to receive the data and then do it. So I'll show you. I think we have enough time. I'll show you how to create the app, and then we can actually even connect and then modify the app from code. I'll show you how to do it. All right. All right. So let's run this. No device JS. Run this, and let me make this big enough. There you go. So as you can see, so this is the data that is being sent to the cloud that we are not doing anything on. So it's sending message ID, the Raspberry Pi, the device ID, is sending a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, humidity of 41%, the fan state of false, and the LED state of false. Now, if you want to know what the fan state, the LED on and fan on is doing, go check my previous episode. You see that we use this turn on the fan and off of the fan in right here in my house. So go check that out. Now, at least this is working. Cool. Let's leave this working. We have crossed the stage. This is not a cool thing. This is not what I wanted to talk about. Okay, let's refresh this. So our Cosmos DB is being deployed, as you can see. So I need, and the reason why I'm stuck here is that I need this Cosmos DB to be deployed before I can go back to the function, because I'm going to reference this Cosmos DB in the functions I'm creating, because I'm going to say that anytime there is an event that happens within, all right, our if an event happens within our IoT hub, I want to collect that event, get information about that event, and send it towards the Cosmos. So I need this Cosmos DB to come up. So whilst that is coming up, let's go back to the code. Let's go back to what we're sending. So as you can see, sending message to the IoT hub. So this message would have gone to the IoT hub as an event, right? And this whole event data is what we want to collect and store this in the Cosmos DB for future reference or whatever we want to do. If later on we want to use this to do machine learning or some AI stuff to train the model to know the average temperature coming from this room, we can do that. If we want to send it to Power BI to stream this, we can do that. Today, I'm not going to do streaming. I'm not going to talk about streaming analytics because I have implemented a logic in my code that doesn't always send the data or the sensor data to the cloud in interval. So that's why I'm not doing that. But whatever I show you in this episode is applicable to subsequent ones. You can put in either stream analytics. You can put in Azure Brick to do Apache Kafka stuff. Can go crazy if you want to. So this is the data that has been sent. And right now it's not sending anything because the last data is sent, which was 20, hasn't changed. So there's no need for it to send it back to the cloud. All right, cool. So let's come back here and see. Hopefully, yeah, it's still running, still running, it's still running, it's still running, it's still running, still running. Yep. So the idea, like I'm saying, is quite simple. The data comes in, right? The data comes in to the IoT hub. There is Azure function that is listening for event on the IoT hub. When something happens or any data sent to the IoT hub, the function takes that data, does the processing or passing of the data, and stores that data or sends that data to Cosmos DB instead. You guys have to do anything else. So let's wait for this. Whilst you're waiting for it, if you have any questions, to be the time for you to ask the question so that I could properly answer that for you. Have any question to be the time to ask so I can properly answer it for you. This is strange. I don't think it's streaming on. Hold on, let's see, let's check our stats. So it looks as if okay, okay, see, gonna know about this pretty soon. So it's still running, right? Deployment is still underway. That's the start thing. Should have just gone ahead. Let's see, I think I have another um I think I have another, how do you call it? I think I have another Cosmos DB in there, but uh, see, okay, Ba-ba-bum. We're still waiting for it to build up. If you have any questions, this will be a very good opportunity for you to ask me any questions that you might have concerning what we've done so far. If you want me to quickly go back, okay, it looks like okay. Which one is this? Okay, it's still underway, not fully done yet. So if this would be a good opportunity for you to ask any questions pertaining to what I'm doing. If the as for the code, like we've gone through the code a couple of times, so you can go check the code out. The only thing I can do here for you to see that there's a change, because so far nothing has changed, is if I go to the bench and use, I think it's already plugged, and use this. This is like a heat gun. Okay. Is it taking up? Okay. Okay. So if I take this, it's actually getting really hot right now. Oh, you can see in, I don't know if you can see in there, it's getting red hot, right? So I'm just going to use this to try to alter the temperature, and then just keep your eye. Now you can see that the temperature has changed. If you look at the top right, the temperature has gone up by 5 degrees, all right, because I have the heat blowing right on top of it. So now it's gone to 41. Okay, temperature has risen to 41. Let me stop this. Okay, just to show you that that's working. Let's go back here. And as you can see, it's it's now detecting the change. So 47 is detecting the change in temperature. It's dropping gradually. Okay, let's go back to our and this is just for the sake of those that don't know. Okay, so and it's right on time. This is crazy. All right, let's go to the resource. So now we have our functions, Azure functions created. All right, and we have our and look at this. So we're going to need a connection string. All right, I'm going to copy this. We're going to need a connection string to communicate with our um, Azure function. All right, and here MongoDB style is showing you how to connect. All right, quite simple. You can see .NET. If you want to do a node connection, this is how you do it. Java, Python, other. This is how you would do it. All right. So yeah, let's just keep it very simple. Node. But I already copied the connection string. Right. Cool. So this is done. Oh, this is my first session with you on IoT after the. Oh, okay. Well, yes. So I would recommend I recommend that start from episode one. All right. So I recommend that you go back and start from episode one because then I walk you through the entire process. All right. So let's do this. So now that we have our logic app, sorry, our functions, and then we have our Cosmos DB. Now, and remember that you need to copy the connection string for your Cosmos DB because you need that for your Azure functions to work. All right, cool. So I'll do this, and then let's go back to the home. And this time around, we have our functions already. So let's open our Azure, sorry, IoT Tuesday. And where's our function? There it is. There's our IoT Tuesday functions app service. So let's open it. And then because it's time, what I'll do is that I'll show you, I'm going to create it. I'm just going to create the function. And then in next episode, we'll take it from there and actually fill it out. So what you need to do is now that we have it here on the left side, you can click on function, click add. And as you can see from here, it starts as a function for JavaScript getting started. Do I want to use VS Code as the editor, or do I want to use any editor plus the call tools? All right. So if I use this, I can write a function using any of my favorite editor, okay, and the call tools. But I already have Visual Studio set up, or I can use Importal. So I'll say no. I want to use Visual Studio Code. Now, what is the deployment do I use? Do I want to use a deployment center, or do I want to publish directly from VS Code? Now, this is just asking the deployment method. How do I want to push the Azure functions I've created? Do I want it to go through like a CI/CD pipeline, like GitHub and all that? I'll just push it directly from Visual Studio Code for now, right? We're just keeping it very simple. And there you go. So it says create the function. Uh, what do we do? Install node, and then you run the call to, and hey, you are done, right? So because I can create this function locally on my machine, not necessarily on the Raspberry Pi, all right? I can create it locally on my machine and do that. So this is what I want to do. I already have this installed. I already have all this installed. So let's finish this. Okay. Okay, I've created a function app. Now it's time to add the code. All right, so the function app has been set up for me. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the code for it. And like I mentioned, I can, okay, let's do it. Let's do one here. And then later on, I can show you how to do it in code. So I'll do a new function. All right, I've selected all that already. I have my JavaScript and all that, all the function done already. Now, one thing that I wanted to highlight here was, let's go to functions. If I open functions, yeah, let's refresh this. Okay, as you can see here. So if I do a new function, right? Let's see, pop up. Now it's slow. Now it's slow, and now it's slow. Okay, good. So now our first function. This is what I'm talking about. it is this function is not going to be triggered. If you want to know something, I have a whole series. I think I have an episode on functions in Demystify Tech. I can talk about serverless and all that, but functions is simply a serverless uh, solution or service provided by Azure, Microsoft, that allows you to run code code on demand. It's like function as a service, right? So here, check this out. It is not an HTTP trigger. It is not a timer trigger. And actually did this on Demystify Tech. I showed how to connect all these triggers. So check my Demystify Tech channel and you're able to do this. Now check this out. Azure, not this. Azure Blob Storage, not this. Azure Event Hub, not this. This is what we are looking for. IoT Hub Event. So this function is going to trigger when a function, this will be run whenever an IoT hub delivers a message for event hub compatible endpoint. All right. So we're going to do this, select this, and it's going to ask you for the event hub. Now we already have an event hub, right? So I'll just say, so this is like the name of the function. All right, so we'll just call it IoT. Let's leave it. Let's leave it for the default, just so we can really pick this up and close this quickly. Now, what's the event hub connection? I can click this. So it means I have to go and copy the event hub connection string as well, and then bring here, okay, and put the connection string here. And then the endpoint, the default, I can leave this the default consumer group, which means that any message that comes will just come to this endpoint. I can create what we call the routing endpoint, which allows me to distinguish if the data coming in from the device has to go to a specific endpoint. But in this case, we're going to use a default consumer group. So any message that is coming would come into this how do you call it? Will come into this consumer group, right? I'm going to do something quite crazy. Yeah, I'm going to open the portal in a different tab, so I can copy the connection string for our IoT hub, right? I don't want to mess up with this. So let's go here, IoT Tuesday. Um, it IoT hub, quite simple. Let's go. Yeah, let's go here. Get access. No, okay. I need to a bit because has it takes all my right, it takes all that away from me. So this, yeah. So just to show you um what I meant here. We're going to zoom. Go. So this is the endpoint I was talking about. These are the endpoints. All right. So with this endpoint, as you can see, the various. So these are the event and the endpoint. These are the consumer group. This is a default consumer group. So anything that is coming from this hub, all right, ends up in this consumer group, the default consumer group, as you can see from here. That is what is being shown here. If I had another consumer group, I would have put that here. But right now, I'm using the default consumer group. This, all right, and we can set up endpoints and all that if we want to, but that's not. So, yeah, compatible endpoints. That is it. We have. Hold on. Yep. Let me copy this. Put it somewhere. Right. Yeah, we use the default consumer group. We are fine with that. Oh, and so these are some of the events. Um, right now we don't have any events for automation. Like I said, if we create an event subscription, like here, we can now notify other applications when the device is connected, disconnected, or some data comes in. So this is what I'm saying, that this is the second part of it. So do you see it? Get Azure Event. So the second way of doing it, like I mentioned, is either to use logic apps. So anytime something happens from here, you trigger a logic apps. Here's another one. Anytime something happens, you trigger a function or a webhook. Or so these are like options available for you to do. And we are using the other part to say that anytime there's a data, all right, we are taking the reverse part by doing it from functions, right? We're doing Azure functions, not doing the events from within Logic apps. Sorry, within the functions app, all right? So this is what I'm talking about. I'll come and talk about events later on. But right now, let's look at how to set that up. Okay, so yeah, there we go. What am I looking for? Now what was I looking for? What was I looking for? Yes, we're looking for the there we go. Let's bring this. Okay, yes, we good. Good, we good. Okay, cool. Well, I was looking for the connection string, so that's fine. I'll use the IoT Hub owner, shared access policies, and then I'll copy the this is the primary connection string here. I'm actually going to paste it somewhere so I don't forget that. So now we come back into functions. Where is our functions? Our function disappeared. No, it didn't disappear. It's right here. So here, the event hub connection, right? I'll say, let's do a new connection. So it's going to look for the event hub. No, it's IoT hub. This, as you can see, IoT Tuesday. And we're using the built-in endpoint. We are not using any other thing. And then select. And then check this out. Check this out. Check this out. It's going to populate it. We have it there, default group. We are done. So now this is what is going to trigger this Azure function. Anytime a message hits, this this IoT hub, it's going to trigger this function to run. Okay, this is what is going to call the functions to run. Now, what we want to do is that we want to add an output binding. Okay, now let's check this out to make sure to test that this is working. All right, to test this is working. Let me zoom this up. I'm going to save this and then I'm going to do run. All right, so the console is running. Right, it's running, and all we're saying is that if something comes in, it will say process message, and then a message. So now let me do a full screen here. If you look, oh yeah, I need to change because I have this here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on the heat again to send the data to the IoT hub. All right, I'm going to turn the heat again. But when I do that, so check this here. Let me open this up so you can see this very well. So as you can see here, let's do a full screen here. So as you can see here, there is nothing here. Okay, there's nothing that shows processing of anything. Just says executed function. Nothing is happening. Nothing has been called. All right. So now look, I'm going to use this. Let's add some heat. Let's blow some heat here. Let's blow some heat here. Now, whilst we are doing this, let's actually go to our code. Good. So now we know that data has been sent to the hub. That's all I need. All right. So now we have, as you can see from here, 32, 34 data has been sent to the hub. Now let's check if it's reflected now. Take a look at this. There it is. It's right here. Look at it. Message, device ID, the Raspberry Pi, the temperature 35, 35, 37. Temperature was 35, 34. So if you come back here, as you can see, 34. The last one that was sent was 34. Go back here. Where's the next message? It's going to be processed when it, yeah. So yeah, you see 34, and it's now going down. So now this simple node function has access to the message. This is the message that is being passed. All right. This is the message that is being passed here. This is a message. JSON encapsulated message. The next thing we're going to do is now I'm going to now connect an output binding and then send this message to Cosmos DB to store for whatever reason we're going to do. Well, this is where I'm going to stop for today's episode. We're over an hour. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how to send this data, add an output binding, and then send this data to Cosmos DB. So until I come away next week Tuesday for another episode of IoT Tuesday, they can stay. Connect with me on my social media platform. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with. And then, hey, let's stay safe. COVID is real. Stay home if you don't have to. And let's make this world a better place. Until then, adios.